Hi YouTube, this is Camman here. Welcome to another video, and by the time you're reading this title, you already know what's going down. I'm going to be talking about Dead by Daylight's current problems, especially if it's oldest, that should already have been fixed, that should not be in the game anymore. So starting off, we have the current problems with Unreal Engine being added to Dead by Daylight, showing the storage on gigabytes for the game itself, requiring less time to download. While that may sound like a good thing, afterwards, the downside effect of Unreal Engine has caused a lot of problems, with many bugs being involved, causing it to be such a huge, buggy mess, where you're rubber banding all over the place. RBD has not been disabled with Hawking's. Dead by Daylight isn't really taking much action to all of their to their I'm sorry, to their problems at all, and it's just getting incredibly infuriating. Not to mention, the game feels incredibly unbalanced on both sides. In terms of base wise, I'm going to be talking about the killer. The killer definitely has it easier base wise. But if we're going to go through perks, then we are going to talk about the survivor side. Yes, there are definitely survivor perks that are even worse to face against than killer perks. The biggest problem on the killer side is how easy it is to play as killer. So let's go from the top. Starting off with the obvious is the bugs with Dead by Daylight. Although one is particularly funny just to think about, all the rest are just overall terrible, and survivors abuse it, killers get problems from it. Not to mention, twins are still just twins. Twins being a problem overall. If you want to know all of it, here's an image. Link to Pixel Bush's Twitter and his YouTube below. Great guy, focuses on a lot of Dead by Daylight topics, especially with movies and so forth, focusing on data and analysis. But obviously, these bugs only came when Unreal Engine was installed to Dead by Daylight, which was a very poor decision, and overall is making a lot of people leave the game, and people look back on it recently and they're like, I'm glad I just left Dead by Daylight for that. It's really just insane how Dead by Daylight has been making great content overall, but the game mechanics are still the same, just being broken, abused, buggy, and more. Not to mention, a lot of perks for the survivors have also just been abused as well. But on that later. Next up is for the killers. Obviously, killer wise, it's just the kit itself. Playing as killer is much easier than playing survivor, because survivor on solo queue is definitely a pure nightmare to face up against. But for survivors, I cannot argue that their perks are problematic. Let's focus from the top. So for killers, it's rather easy because now we have access to killers that are just more broken. Take for instance the hillbilly. The hillbilly's power is really fun. It is really fun to have. It's fun to face up against, but he's really busted. And it's also important to note how there's the skull merchant, where she's just unbalanced to face. She's weak, but she just sucks to face up against. And there are people who even abuse Pain Res and Pop Goes to Weasel, which, in my opinion, people should not be focusing their attention on Pain Res. It should be focused on Pop. Let me make this very, very clear. Pop is the main problem. Surge is Pain Res is not the problem. It is 4 times only. You have to hook the survivor for the first time to get 25% gone, and once it's all used up, that's it. And it's a top tier perk, and it's perfectly balanced. However, Pop is not. Pop can be used more consistently than Scourge, than Pain Res. It's really just the fact that people don't really look into it and think about it. But that's the main problem. All I'm saying is that it's not really the killer's fault with perks or power. It's the base kit of all of it. So just basically the base kit needs to get nerfed, like hit cooldowns, kicking gens, or kicking pallets. Basically that. Not too much, but to the point where it's fair and it gives more advantages to the survivors. Now, on to the survivor perks, which are mainly Buckle Up and background player. I swear, I'd rather face 4 sprint bursts than a single background player. Because at least with sprint burst, there is a lot of skill behind skill against sprint burst. You gotta have used it correctly. You can't just go ahead and just be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna run sprint burst. I'm gonna be able to loot the killer all game. No, there is 99ing. And 99ing is a really good technique on sprint burst. Or even dead hard, but mostly sprint burst. When you 99 correctly with sprint burst, you can get that sudden burst of speed where you stop for 1 second and then start running again and get distance for the killer. It's really good. However, background player is just not skillful. It's really just so easy. It's like easy mode free saves. The problem about it is that it's like 5 seconds long, which is the original time to adrenaline from its 5 seconds. 5 seconds of 150% movement speed increase, which is a lot. It's a lot to just put that much into it. It's crazy how it has not been nerfed. It is just unbalanced in terms of how it is. It really just sucks to face up against. Buckle Up gets abused a lot too when you just put for the people with it. And you can't even do anything to Survivor that used it. No, it completely saves them too. It is basically just a free pickup after like taking a long chase and 1 gen's left. Guess what? Someone with Buckle Up and For the People is coming in to save them. And you're just gonna play that chase down again with no hooks. It is really just unbalanced. Which makes the valid opinion about tunneling and slugging valid for the killers. They do it because they have to. If they want to win, then they could do it to win. It's honestly just really valid to why they do it. I get that playing on Survivor is a lot harder than killers. I have done some Survivor myself, and yes, it really is harder than killer. It is a lot harder, especially with solo queue. However, the argument against the perks for it are not. And Deja Vu is definitely the best gen speed perk in the game. More so than Prove Thyself, because you could just have 6% base kit on 3 gens, and you can see where those gens are. So it's really just easy. And you could run it on multiple people, and it won't even take down the downside of it. So it's really just free gen speed perks. And if you combine it with Prove Thyself on a 2-man gen, then you're going to get pretty fast results. The next thing I want to talk about is skill-based matchmaking. I haven't really mentioned it earlier, but it is a really big problem. Skill-based matchmaking makes absolutely no sense. Like, I thought it was supposed to be something that like helps out players a lot, but honestly it just makes the game even more boring, and I don't want that system. I just want to play Dead by Daylight and have my time with it. However, I already, like 1 game after, I'm facing 5 different games with lines of sweats with top tier perks, broken perks, abusing perks, all of that. And it's not just that, it's also the killing themselves too, which really drastically changes the side of it. Really just makes the problem so much more worse, because I prefer the rank based matchmaking. The reason why is because at least over time during the rank based matchmaking, you get higher and it actually represents your skill. It does represent skill a lot better than it does now. With skill-based matchmaking though, the whole grade system makes no sense, and it just rewards you blood points. And when you play the game, it is immediately, because it remembers how you played last time during yesterday or like a week before, and you just got back, it's going to punish you with face up against top tier survivors or survivors that are better than you, which is really unbeneficial, or even killers against you. It works. It just does things against you either way, and afterwards, like a few games, you just lose. You get that 1 game, but then it doesn't last long. Like, it's just 1 game, and then off to the dumpster fire with really sweaty gameplay. The thing about rank-based matchmaking is that at least when you wait off, the games get easier, because all of the top tier players on killer and survivor side have already tried hard so much in the game and have gone up to rank 1, which makes it so much easier just to be at the bottom and enjoy your time there before you go back up to face a bad sweat, even if you lose. Another thing I want to talk about is the maps in general, including map offerings. The thing about maps is that there are some that are really unbalanced, such as RPD, Midwich, Dead Dog, Gideon's Meat Plant, and so forth. Another problem that's just with them is the fact that they have not been properly handled. What I mean is, they should just not be in the game because we are always stuck on this one system that doesn't give us an option to be quick play or ranked. It's just the system as it is. And I don't want a game that's going to force me to play on these terribly designed maps on Killer or Survivor and go completely against me just because it was designed that way. No. I want to play the game where it's not always against me. That's just because it was chosen to be. What I'm suggesting about these maps is that they go to custom game as an option to have fun. And for the unchosen maps that have not been put into custom game, just be left alone. The reason why I say that is because if it's going to stay like this, where we're going to have like a rank system or an upgrade or like a downgrade system instead of like a quick play match, then it should just not be this way. It should not at all for one itsy bitsy second, which is just an absolute pain and unfair game design. And it makes me confused. Why does this exist? Why is this here? I don't know. And really, it just shouldn't be that way. And the game can be so much better than this. Yeah. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. There is a lot about the game's mechanics that have got to be changed. I don't really have much of a solution yet. But with the maps, if we're going to be staying on this system where we're going to determine by people's rank or skill in the game, we might as well just not have these map offerings or in the game anymore, just gone, because it should be so easy to handle. But also these unbalanced maps for Killer and Survivor, and just leave in ones that actually benefit both sides, that aren't so broken, and leave them in custom games for people to enjoy on their own terms. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a like, comment, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Goodbye.